Our planet is facing a threat that we can't even see, and it's growing every day. Space debris is the silent danger that surrounds the planet, consisting of anything from small screws to discarded rocket stages and dead satellites. Orbiting at incredible speeds, even the smallest object can pose a significant risk of collision to any spacecraft that crosses its path. We rely on space for critical tasks such as communication, navigation, and scientific research. Unfortunately, the amount of debris in orbit is only increasing, meaning the danger to space exploration and our technological infrastructure is growing as well. As our dependence on space grows, it is imperative that we prioritize measures to safeguard this invaluable resource from the increasing danger of space debris.
Look up at the night sky, and you might imagine space as silent, empty, and infinite. But just above our heads, Earth is surrounded by a growing cloud of something far less poetic. Space debris. Also known as space junk, it's made up of abandoned satellites, spent rocket stages, shattered fragments from collisions, and even tiny flecks of paint, remnants of humanity's rush into orbit.
This junk can kill your GPS, black out your internet, crash the stock market, all from a single, tiny collision. This isn't science fiction. This is the story of space debris. It started beautifully. We launched satellites, explorers, dreams. For decades, space was humanity's clean slate, our next great adventure. But we never cleaned up after ourselves. Drop one pen? No problem. Drop 1,000,000? You've got chaos. Now launch those pens at 17,000 miles per hour, straight above your head. That's orbit. That's what we've done. It's not just dead satellites, it's rocket parts, lost tools, even a camera an astronaut dropped in 1965. And yes, flakes of paint. Paint. Sounds harmless, until you realize what it's traveling at.
And it's moving fast. Really fast. Most space debris travels at over 17,000 miles per hour. At that speed, even a bolt smaller than a coin can punch through metal like a bullet. In space, a collision isn't a dent, it's an explosion. Right now, experts estimate there are more than 34,000 pieces of debris large enough to track, and millions more too small to see, but still deadly. Every launch, every collision, every anti-satellite test adds to the chaos. This creates a terrifying possibility, known as the Kessler syndrome, a chain reaction where one collision creates debris that causes more collisions, which creates even more debris, until entire orbital zones become unusable. Once it starts, it may be impossible to stop.
Hey, it's Mega. I'm the chief opinion editor at Scientific American. Did you know there's such thing as space trash? So right now, orbiting Earth, there are a bunch of satellites and a space station and other spacecraft. And when these satellites break or break down, nobody comes to get them. There's no orbiting Earth trash company that comes and picks them all up. And so they just keep circulating in orbit. And this creates a hazard for all the things that do work, right? Because you can imagine that if this junk hits an actual working satellite, it might knock it out of commission. And so a lot of people are really concerned about this stuff. There's a ton of it out there. So we just published this really interesting piece from a researcher named Moraba Jah at the University of Texas. And what he talks about is sustainability in space. So we need to think about being more sustainable in space the way we are thinking about it here on Earth. And he talks about ways of creating spacecraft that are more reusable, and ways of maybe bringing spacecraft back down to Earth in such a way that we can reuse them as well. And so come to scientificamerican.com, take a read, and learn a little bit more about the space debris problem and some of the solutions that might make a difference. Have a good day.
If that happens, we don't just lose satellites. We lose GPS, weather forecasting, global communications, emergency response systems, financial networks, military intelligence. Even astronauts aren't safe. The International Space Station regularly fires its thrusters just to dodge incoming debris. Sometimes, crews are forced to shelter in place, hoping nothing hits.
Space debris has hit a 737 MAX at its cruising altitude, shattering its windscreen and injuring one of its pilots. The incident apparently happened on Thursday, but these images were just released today. The United Airlines flight that, as I said, was being operated by a 737 MAX was flying from Denver to LA. Admittedly, there is no guarantee this was space debris, but quote, scorch marks do point to either a meteorite or potentially a piece of a satellite or other man-made object. It also appears that the incident likely occurred over Utah, as you can see a sharp turn in their flight path here when they diverted and shortly after landed in Salt Lake City.
So why hasn't this been solved? Because cleaning space is far harder than polluting it. There's no global authority enforcing cleanup. No easy way to grab objects moving faster than a rifle round. And many of the worst debris fields belong to military assets no nation wants to take responsibility for. Still, solutions are being tested. Robotic arms, drag sails, nets, harpoons, even ground-based lasers designed to gently nudge debris out of orbit so it burns up in Earth's atmosphere. But these are early steps, not a cure. As private companies launch thousands of new satellites, the margin for error shrinks. One major collision could change space access forever. Space was once humanity's symbol of limitless possibility. Now it's becoming a mirror, reflecting how we treat shared environments when no one is watching. The question isn't whether space debris is dangerous. It's whether we'll act before we trap ourselves on the planet we're trying to escape.